Alrighty,
Alrighty.
Creed. You
Sounds
wanna
good.
you wanna jump into this while we let these Fed speakers talk? Okay, I think I
Absolutely.
have this. All right, so you guys can hear me,
Yep,
and
we
you can
can
see the black
hear.
box logo on the screen.
Correct.
Alrighty, guys. Hello. My name is Teresa, and I want to first thank Creed for inviting me over to talk a little bit to you guys about Black Box. It is my absolute favorite, so I'm a little passionate about it. So, really quickly, here I want to give you a little bit of background on me. My name is Teresa. You can contact me at all of these various places. But a little bit about my background. I actually started my career, or I spent the vast majority of my career in high tech in Silicon Valley. So I've held director and VP level positions at companies like Pacific Bell, National Semiconductor, and Macromedia. And after spending about 17 years in the Bay Area, I was like, oh, I need a change. So I didn't make a little change. I made a big change and moved to Alaska. Came up here, finished up my bachelor's of business administration, graduated with honors in 2016, and needed something to do. As you guys can imagine, there's a lot of high tech in a lot of oil tech in Alaska, but not a lot of high tech. And a friend of mine suggested that I look at trading. So I was doing some web searches and came upon Black Box. I actually joined as a member in January of 2017, became a full-time moderator for Black Box in May of 2017, and a full-time options trader right around that same time. I give you all of this background because I didn't know anything about trading before coming to Black Box. And when I joined, you guys, it's really funny. We actually did conference calls, and there were about 300 members. We're up to about 3,600 now, and we have completely redone the platform. So I am proof that Black Box actually works. So what is it? Black Box, I call it the trader's toolbox. Basically what we have is we've got two sides of the house. We've got a stock side and an option side, and then a bunch of shared components in the middle. And what I also love about the system is we've added so much data, it can really grow with you as your trading grows. So let's take a look at this thing. So this is Black Box. When you first log into the system, this is where you're going to default to. And this is what I love about it. I'm going to click on this RIGL. As soon as I click on a ticker, the system is automatically going to present to me all of the information that I need in order to be able to make the decision whether or not to make a trade. So you can see I've got a chart that's populated. I now have a volatility indicator. I've got information underneath the volatility indicator that's giving me the current trade info, as well as the entire volume on the day, the increase in dollar amount from yesterday, and the percentage increase from yesterday. So you see this RIGL is up, what, 91% from yesterday? But also, as I go through here, I'm going to click on this far right-hand panel. This far right-hand panel is shared between the two sides of the house. So if I click on the alert stream is automatically telling me everything that's coming up for RIGL. News is automatically filtered for RIGL. So you can see really quickly in just a couple of clicks, I can see everything that I need to see. Okay, I'm sure you guys are watching this volatility indicator here, so I'm going to explain it really quickly. This volatility indicator is our proprietary version of level 2. And what it's doing, it's actually looking at the bid and the asks and determining buying or selling pressure within a 10-second window. So you can see there's a lot of buying pressure coming in right now. This volatility indicator, though, I want to be really clear, guys, this is not an entry or exit indicator. It's basically just a confirmation indicator. And you get a lot more activity on this volatility indicator when you've got these smaller stocks. So it's more applicable to those. If you're trying to watch it on something like an Apple, even if you're trying to watch level 2 on something like an Apple, you know you're going to make yourself cross-eyed because there's so much information that's going through. But remember, this is just a 10-second window. So you might want to look at it something like if you have entered a position at support and you're looking at it coming up to resistance, it can be a confirmation that, okay, I've got some selling pressure coming in, but remember, it's just that 10-second window. Doesn't mean get out, just means watch me. Okay, so what else do we have here? As I said, we've got two sides of the house. When you first log into Black Box, you are going to be on the stock side of the house. This side, we're going to give you 6 different alerts that cover everything from short alerts to volume price spike alerts. If you click on this little tiny question mark right here, you're going to get a full description of all of our alerts. We have 3 that occur in pre-market. You guys can probably guess the one called pre-market actually occurs in pre-market. So we have a pre-market alert, we have a rapid decline alert, and a usual suspect alert that all occur in pre-market. And then during regular market hours, we will have the volume active alert, price spike alert, and retracement alerts. The rapid decline alert is our fancy way of saying it's a short alert. Usual suspect alert is for all of those tickers. You guys know these, right? They're like bad pennies. They'll show up every month or so or seasonally, come in, make a big run, and then disappear for a while. We keep a database of those and present those. So if you guys have not, if you are a member of Black Box and do not see these rapid decline alerts, you will actually turn those on underneath my account, underneath account my settings, and go to this little teeny tiny checkbox right there. That's going to turn them on. We make it proactive for you to turn those on because, as you guys know, shorting stocks can be really, really risky. So we have to give that disclaimer. But with this information, what we have is a series of alerts that are telling you, hey, look, this stock has met certain thresholds and or is exhibiting unusual activity. I want to make it really clear. These alerts are not buy signals. These alerts are simply saying, all right, this stock is doing something interesting. I want you to think about it like the girl that's going to the party, right? She's all dressed up and ready to go. You need to decide whether or not you want to take her, because not all chicks do you want to take to a party, okay? So the data flow I want to point out to you guys, because like I said, this kind of grows with you as your trading grows. When you're first getting into trading and first getting into Black Box, you're going to want to pay attention to these alerts, but more importantly, you're going to want to pay attention to the top gainers, this section down here in the lower left-hand corner. And the reason for that is these are the top 10 gainers. They're going to change throughout the day, but they're showing you that these alerts are already performing. All right. But if you want to dig really deeply, I'm going to click here on this alert stream. The alert stream is showing you all of the components of the data that we're tracking for that particular stock. So we track everything from 52-week highs. Here you can see it received an unusual suspect alert. We're looking at share volume, a bunch of different components of data. So if you think about the alert stream is all of the data. Once a stock hits all of our alert criteria, it becomes an alert. And then the best performing alerts show up here in the top 10 gainers. So you can span, when you're first starting out looking at top 10 gainers, as you expand, you'll look more at the alert log. And then more as you become more sophisticated, you'll dig through more of this data. So speaking of that data, we have some interesting things here that you can filter for. And I'm going to click on this one. So you can see here on our alert stream, you can filter for dark pool data, 52-week highs and lows, price spike alerts. But I'm just going to click on this on dark pool data because I want to make a point here. Getting a lot of attention on dark pools. It's super cool information, but I want you guys to look at this. So if I'm looking down through here, right, we've got some really big numbers on this dark pool data coming through. So we've got 5.8 million, 14 million. I get a lot of new traders coming in and they get super excited about this information. But I want to walk you guys through what's here. So time-wise, Black Box is entirely web-based, and it's going to default to your local time. I'm up here in Alaska, so I'm 4 hours off from the East Coast. That means I get up at 3:30 a.m. for the market to open at 5:30 a.m. But so this alert is actually coming in at 2:09. All right. The ticker is IGF. What we're looking at here is 153,600 shares at 5.8 million. We've got another one on CCL, 970,000 shares. This is a $14 million trade. On this dark pool trade, if you guys look at it, no, I just clicked on CCL and everything came to it. If you look at that, what's missing? Can anybody tell me what's missing really, really quickly that would be actionable for that trade? Anybody know? I ask a lot of questions when I'm presenting. The information that's missing is this is just a dark pool trade. We have no idea. Learn to win. Hello. Yes. We have no idea whether or not this is a buy or a sell. This is big volume coming through, but we don't know whether it's a buy or a sell. And so I want to make sure that everybody understands just because you see a big $14 million trade coming in on CCL, that is data, but it's not actionable right away. Now, what we do with it is because we do have all that volume, we want to make sure and note it on the chart. This could be a potential area of support and resistance. So we do have an upgrade coming into Black Box here shortly. I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek, so don't tell anybody, okay? Here you go. This is going to be dark pool dated charted onto our actual charts. And if you look at that, you can see how those levels can become areas of support and resistance. Again, it's just another data point. We're just going to map these in and be aware of them. But this is what's useful for dark pool data, not trying to say, okay, there's a $14 million trade that's coming through. What can I do with it? Okay. All right. So let me see. Let me get out of CCL. While we're here, also want to take you guys, we do have 3 scanners. The thing I love about our scanners is that the information that they're presenting is only from that market session. So pre-market is only the pre-market session. Post-market, only the post-market activity. And then the market scanner is giving you information for during the day. And what we're doing is we're going through and looking at the top percentage gainers, and that's how these are sorted. So you guys, I know you can guess if the green arrow or the little green triangle is pointing up, price is going up. Little red arrow pointing down means that the price is going down. But this is a fantastic place to come and do research during the day on what's making moves, right? We have our setup in the morning. For me, the way I use the system is I'll start with the post-market scanner the night before. I will go through and look through the scanner, look at what's, and it's not populated right now because obviously we're in the regular market session, but I'm going to look at what's making big moves in post-market. I'm going to come back in the morning and then look at pre-market. And the first thing I'm going to be looking for is, do I have some continuation in those tickers from the night before? I'm also going to be, can it show the float? We don't actually show the float on here. What we are showing is a lot of data, just like I said, on date. We're collecting data when stocks have hit certain thresholds. Once they hit additional thresholds, we alert them. Okay. So the other thing I can do, so I can get the ticker, right? And I can see the chart right away, but I also want to be able to see if there's news that is going to influence that price action. So I'll tell you guys, when I first joined Black Box, I paid for the fly on the wall. It was $65 a month. It's now included in Black Box. This is my #1 go-to resource for news. We've got Fly on the Wall, PR Newswire. This is a multi-source news feed. Super cool thing we can also do here. I'm going to take this off of the filter so I can see all news, but I can also specifically filter for options news. So it's going to tell me things like Rite Aid call volume above normal and directionally bullish, trading 1.2x expected, volatility increasing a point to 83.41. So we also know beyond, product news and things like that that move stocks, guess what? Analyst ratings will also move stocks. So this is my other thing, morning read. I'll come through here and look at all of these upgrades and downgrades. I'm looking for the commentary. I'm looking for those street highs or those double upgrades, and I want to see it from the big houses. We also know that different tickers respond differently to these ratings upgrades. So I'm looking for those that I know make moves on those analyst ratings. Let's see, what else do we have here? We do have, so I'm telling you that this is my number one go-to source. I don't know if anybody here, and my apologies if you are, but this would be my least favorite news source. We do have StockTwits integration. Sorry, I get a lot of trolls on StockTwits, and it just makes my head hurt being there. But I will tell you, I do use it in the event that I come here and I'm looking at the news and I can't find news on what might be pushing a move. I will look to StockTwits. Just click here. It's automatically going to take me to the page, and I'll scroll down and see if there's anyone on StockTwits that has posted information that's going to give me some more detail on what's happening in the stock. Okay. But the big thing that I want you guys to see is basically you just click on any ticker, right? You click on any ticker, and right away you've got this wealth of information. Also, once you turn on your rapid decline alerts, you'll also get this new section down here called top decliners. Um, Also, another place to look for trades throughout the day. I will also, at the end of the day, as part of my research, look at yesterday's top 10 gainers and decliners, again, because I'm looking to see is there any continuation that's happening. Also, something really cool, let me go back to this market scanner. Like I said, we've got this information underneath the volatility indicator that's giving me the current trade information. But because these scanners are giving me information only from that market time frame, I can quickly do a check to say, all right, how does the volume that I'm seeing right now compare to the volume from the entire day? It's particularly useful when you are looking at doing research in the evenings and seeing that post-market scanner and being able to compare those volumes to volume throughout the day. So I think that covers the highlights on the stock side. Did I miss anything, Corinne?
No, I do believe that that covers most of what you've got in there. Now, guys, one thing to keep in mind, just under the volatility indicator as well, you can also see how many shares have been traded, the volume itself, but also the rate of change. So we can see right there, it says 79.49. That's our rate of change. And Teresa, please correct me if I'm incorrect, but that is from the open and or
From the
from the
open.
previous close. It's from the open.
From the
All right.
open.
So this
Yeah.
is up 79.8 from the open. That's quite the move overall with
That was a
and
serious move.
oh man, and you could find the float somewhere else and see that it's already traded 8 million throughout. So, let's say it has a float of 2 million, 3 million shares, heck, even 5 million shares. It's already rotated its float 1.5 times, and you can quickly access this data. You hear me say things all the time. You can hear the term wrong or you can use the term inefficient. When you're a specific style trader using efficient tools such as Black Box, and really there is nothing else that is similar in my opinion, because you guys offer such a specialized product that it allows you to become more efficient in your trading. And at the end of the day, that's what we're looking to do, be it stock or option or future or whatever. We're trying to optimize that efficiency, and this allows you to do that in a very easy to read format.
Oh, okay. I've got some alerts that are coming up here. So I just wanted to point out we were looking at this NCNO, and one of the things you can do is we've got a volume ratio tab here as well that's going to show you particular stocks that are trading really, really high volume. So what we're looking at in this ratio, it's going to tell you how many times that stock is trading its normal 10-day average. So we've got this funky number. So this NCNO, I can tell right away that that is an IPO. One, I've got this infinity right here. So the system is kind of saying, wait, it can go anywhere. When I pull up the volume indicator or the volume ratio, the numbers match. So I know that that's an IPO. Also PRCP, I can see right away. Let's see on this one. This thing is trading 2,742 times its normal 10-day average. So I call Black Box the trader's toolbox. It really does have all of these little pieces of information, and that can either provide additional elements for your trade. I use the term buy a story, not a ticker, a lot. And what that is a story. When you're looking at it, you're putting together all of these little data pieces, right? So that if your grandmother asked you why you were getting into that trade, you would be able to say it's because, well, the chart is at support. I've got some buying coming in. Volume looks really good. The news, they've got a new product launch coming out. All of those pieces that make our trade stronger. And you can find all of those here in Black Box. Okay, so can you place trades straight from the console? You will be able to shortly. All right, I'm letting you guys in on the secret. Okay, it's in development right now. We're testing it. I've seen it. It's so freaking cool. I cannot wait between the dark pool charts and this. But we're doing an integration with TradeStation. They don't have a firm date on when it's being released. We're, like I said, we're testing it right now. But what you'll be able to do is on these alerts, simply right click and place a trade straight from Black Box. So we will have a partnership with them, and more details will be rolling out. But I think that that's going to be a huge, huge advantage. TradeStation, yeah. All right, so guys, all of that is just on the stock side. I haven't even touched the option side yet. So I'm guessing we have a few options traders here, right, Creed?
Oh, just a handful here and there.
Just a
You know how
handful.
that.
All right, so let's jump over to the options side of the house. And guys, I didn't cover it on the stock side, but this is a full institutional grade charting package. It's got a little bit of everything, different views. Black Box is web-based. You can save your views. Just know if you save them, they're saved as a cookie. So if you use a cookie blocker, you need to make sure that Black Box is an approved site. And then if you do a refresh, you're going to lose those saved views. But there's a number of different chart styles and things you can look at, a bunch of different studies. Our new drawing tools now, I love them because we can pop them out, move them down, get them out of the way so that you have plenty of space to draw. And then, like I said, this far right-hand panel is a shared panel between the two. So you guys can see that this far right-hand panel and the charting package stay the same. But once we click over to the option side, you are going to default on the flow page. So remember when I was talking about the alert stream over on the stock side, the alert stream is showing you all of the data that we are tracking. Let me take my filter back off and show all that we're tracking for individual stocks. Once a stock meets our criteria, it becomes an alert. Well, this flow is the same concept. These are all of the options trades that we are tracking. And then once a particular option meets all of our criteria, then we're going to issue an alert. And we've got 6 different alerts. I think we've got 6 different alerts right now. And all of our options alerts are based on the number of trades that come through within a particular time frame. We've got one 2-minute time frame, a 5-minute time frame, a 60-minute time frame. Roulettes, you can tell, are always the risky ones. They're this week's expiration, so we have some additional risk in those. And then, or the size. But I want to point out a couple of things that we're looking at here. So on this flow, what you've got is the time the alert came through, the symbol, the expiration of that contract, the strike of the contract, whether or not it's a call or a put, and you don't even have to read it, it's color coded for you. And then the spot price. So the spot price is the price of the underlying asset when this trade came through. We've got 100. Well, I just we just had some come in. 100 contracts. I'm looking at this Apple 717. 100 contracts at $1.85 per share. So obviously, for the full contract price, we're going to have to multiply that by 100. In this case, it's a block, and I'm going to come back to that in just a second. The total value of the trade, and then the IV. And this IV is an actual IV percentage. We are not using an IV percentile. So yeah, this DKNG is at 111% IV. This NEO, 167%. Only overpaying for these contracts just a little teeny tiny bit. All right, so that's the information that's there. These colors are determined by the trade's relationship to open interest. So you can tell right away, are there traders that are going into something and they're just piling on? If you're seeing these whites come through, a white indicates that open interest has not been exceeded. Okay, and we're calculating this based on the day. A yellow trade means that open interest has been exceeded in a single trade. All right, that can be really interesting, particularly if you think about the first yellow that comes through on the day. If it's exceeded open interest, it has to be an opening transaction. And why does it have to be an opening transaction? Because we can't close what isn't open. Okay. And then we have purple. And purple is telling us that open interest has been exceeded on the day. So what you'll normally see is you'll see an option come through and the trades will go from white to either yellow and then to purple, or white to purple. Once the alert has, or once open interest has been exceeded for the day, you'll never see those trades go back to white. They're going to be purple and yellow. Okay. So once we have everything come through here, actually, let me come back up here. You're going to see, like I said, a lot of these little filter buttons. The filter buttons are your way to refine Black Box so that it's only showing you the information that you want to see. So I'm going to click on the filter. Now, the first thing we've got, this is the default settings for our filters. So we do have a section called multi-leg. Multi-leg is going to be for those advanced strategies. Those are the buy rights, the spreads, all of that. But it's all classified as multi-leg now. I generally don't look at that one a lot unless I'm looking at something, or the ponytail pump has come on CNBC and I'm trying to find what they're looking for. So, but you guys are defaulted to ask and above ask. The reason for that is if we defaulted to ask and above ask, you're immediately going to be able to see just the directionals. You take those off, and boom, we can see everything now, right? So we see these trades that have come through on the ask, that have come through on the bid. Anyone want to give me a guess what it means if there is not a designator there? Any ideas? Any
Come on,
guesses?
peeps. We've talked about this before. You guys got it?
It's a limit order. Yes, Kim, you get a gold star, darling. So on these limit orders, can we tell whether or not those are bullish or bearish trades? No, they don't tell us anything. They tell us that there's a trade, but unless we were sitting right there with the trader, we do not know whether this is bullish or bearish. But we can look through all of this flow and see different activity, and we can make guesses based on what this trade is, about what this trade is based on where the trade was executed. And this is what we're looking at when we're doing this. Oh, come on, come back down here. Come back up here. There. So the reason why we're filtering for that ask and above ask is just like I said, if they're buying calls, they're bullish. If they're buying puts, they're bearish. But things change a little. If you are selling calls or closing your call positions, you're really bearish on the trade. And the reason for that is if you're writing premium, the way that you're going to make money on calls is if the stock stays the same or goes down. Then the reverse is true on the put side, right? If you're closing those puts, you're bullish, or if you're selling puts, you're bullish, okay? Now, this is not 100% of the time, but this is a general diagram of what we're looking at for these trades, okay? So remember I said the system's going to grow with you. So say you're a brand new trader and you're looking at this flow going, damn, let's just look at Tesla. All right. This is all of the flow for Tesla today. Tesla's been a little choppy. Look at all this. Look at all of this activity on Tesla today. One of my absolute favorite features, and I'm a little partial to it because I helped work on it, is this heat map. This heat map is a visual representation of all of that. In one click, you can get sentiment on the day. So this is super simple, guys. I'm sure you can tell. C is going to be calls, P is going to be puts. Okay. What we have down the center are all of the expirations. The one that is in yellow is the strike that, I'm sorry, not expiration, these are all the strikes. It's the strike that is closest to where the stock is currently trading. You can look at yellow and say right away, that's at the money. That is the at the money strike. Red, bullish. I'm sorry, red is bearish. Green is bullish, regardless of what side of the fence it's on. Okay. So if you're seeing red bearish activity on the call side, that means those are either call trades being closed out or sold. If you're seeing green on the put side, same thing. So you can pull this up and right away say, okay, what do you guys think the sentiment on Tesla is for the day? Just by looking at the colors. I don't want you paying any attention to the text. At some point, all the text will be black. We should have started it that way. Anybody have any ideas? You think it's bullish? I think it's a little more bearish. I'm really looking at these 1500s, right? So now this is tempered a little bit. We've got a cell right here that has no color in it, right? So I showed you guys what we're looking for when we're looking for bullish and bearish activity, right? So if I've got a cell that has no color in it, but it's got a number in it, those are the number of contracts that have traded at that strike and expiration. Anybody want to give me a guess what that cell is or what it means when there's no color in the cell? I'm guessing Cam can answer. It's a limit order. Yes. So again, we have no idea. So if you're looking at this flow, I mean, if you're looking at the heat map and you pull up something like an apple, and you see all of these cells where we've got limit orders, I could take a look and say, okay, this is the sentiment of the day, but I've got to discount it because I've got all of these limit orders coming in. All right, let me go back through here to Tesla and tell you the other components that are here. So I've said calls are on the left-hand side, right? Puts are on the right-hand side. C0 and P0 is this week's expiration. C1 and P1 are next week's expiration. And then C2 and P2 are all expirations 2 or more weeks out. That's why this one is great, because it's important for you guys to understand. The expirations in here can be anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months. So, but the real purpose of the heat map, super simple, quick check of sentiment on the day. Really easy way to see where the bulk of the activity is coming through on the day, because as there are more contracts traded at each strike and expiration, the cell will become darker and darker and darker. And that's just as telling you, all right, there's a lot of activity here. If I'm doing some research, I want to dig down and see what's going on right there. Okay. All right. So it's going to go from flow. Now, if this is all of the data that we're tracking, once an option hits all of our alert criteria, it's going to become an alert. Now it's filtered. Let me unfilter it. So these are all of our alerts for today. Right now, these are sorted by percentage gainer. We've added a new filter to where you can sort them by time. But on the same way for that top gainers on the stock side, if you're looking for things where you want to focus on, sort by gainers. And that you can tell that those alerts have already sort of proven themselves, if that makes sense. Again, this is the chick that's dressed up and ready to go to the party. You've got to look at her and go, you know what? You look a little too wild for me. I'm not interested. Okay. Um, and a really simple, quick way to do some quick research on these, let's click on Adobe. I'm going to click on the alert. Automatically, I'm getting my chart. If I click on it again, I'm isolating this Adobe alert to the 427.50s. I want to see what's triggering this alert. So I've isolated it. I click on the flow, and I can see that it was this trade that triggered that Adobe alert. All right. So it's an opening transaction. It is for this week's expiration. And I can say, all right, is there any news? What's happening with Adobe that might be driving this price? And okay, that cannot be right. Hold on. Come on. Give me my Adobe news. Thank you very much. Why is YEXT coming up? There must be a connection with Adobe. There's a partnership that was July the 9th. So really, I don't have anything behind this on the news. I might go through and check stock twits if I hold my nose, kind of scroll through here to see if there's anything interesting. But my checklist is going to be number one, is Adobe something that I would normally trade? Two, I'm going to isolate the alert and look at the flow to say, do I have some really strong flow? So let's make a comparison here. Just showed you what came through on Adobe. Let's look at BABA today. And let's see, BABA, we were looking at, I think it was these. No, let me go back here. Sorry, guys. There was some BABA flow that came through today that was actually really, really interesting. Open interest Greeks. So all of this information, the flow colors are based on that trade's relationship to open interest. We're not putting up the Greeks. You can get that information from the options chain. We're really, like I said, you've got so Black Box was designed by high frequency traders, and they had the goal of bringing all of these professional tools that the big houses had to individual traders, to retail traders. And so the system is really scanning millions of options trades. I think we've got thousands. I don't know. I think we're 8,000 because we pulled off OTC. Thousands of stocks and looking for that unique information. And then, so that's what the alerts are. The alerts are saying, hey, all of the criteria has been met. You know, we've got the little flashing lights going off saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. But then if you want to drill down and do some of your own investigation, you can do that as well. So on the Greeks, you can get that from the options chain. It's not going to be here. Okay. All right. So on the alerts, like I said, we're doing it when we're seeing something come through. We're going to be isolating these down and seeing, come on, isolating these down and looking to see what flow is actually triggering that alert. And when we're looking for flow, we're looking to see that the price is going up and in the right direction. We're looking to see all of these A's and AAs. Also, I meant to come back. Creed, you had to remind me. I didn't cover blocks and sweeps.
Well, you've got to
All
do
right.
block sweeps and all of those.
All right, so here, I've also got types. So we have two different types of trades that come through. The first one is a block. Blocks are generally negotiated, they're generally tied to something, and they are similar. I'm not saying they are similar to the concept of a limit order, right? With a limit order, the trader is taking time to negotiate that trade. So block orders are a single large trade executed at one exchange. We also have sweeps. Sweeps are large orders that are executed at multiple exchanges. They are more similar to a market order, right? That trader is saying, get me in now. I don't care where you have to get these contracts, sweep every single exchange and give me those contracts. Okay. So this is what I was talking about that you would normally see. You're going to see these trades going white. So with open interest, the system is checking against open interest and saying, okay, open interest hasn't been exceeded, boom, now it's been exceeded. And then when you start seeing them piling into a particular stock and a particular strike and expiration, that's what the sort of flow that we're looking for. We want to see the price going up in the same direction. We want to see consistency and a lot of activity, particularly above open interest. All right. A couple of other tabs that we have here. So I've covered the alerts, told you guys the roulettes are the most risky because they're always this week's expiration. I also will spend, when I come back at lunch, journal my trades. I go back and look at the alerts that we have, not only for the performance of the alerts, but I'm also looking at the timing, right? So if I look through here, look at all these this week expirations that we have, right? We've got a 724 there. I've got one 821. I've got a 1016. But I can look at the sentiment of what's happening with the market today based on the alerts that we're seeing, right? Do you guys notice a theme here on just the expirations? Did I put you guys to sleep already? Come on. Talk to me. I get lonely. For me, the
Alrighty,
sentiment
Pete.
is saying, already, Pete?
No, I was gonna say, Peeps, what do you think with the expirations being so close? What would our sentiment be?
Yeah, we've got, and this is all big money, right? So sentiment today looks like what we've seen in the market, right? We've got a lot of short-term trading. So not a lot of big money going out into these longer dated expirations. Everything is pretty close. So another way just to look at, because remember I said this story, I want to hear, I want to put together this story in my trades, particularly if I'm swinging something. I want to have these little data points that says, okay, give me a hint on what the market is thinking. These are already, this flow, we're tracking big money. That's what this is. And now if I take the big money trades that then translate into alerts, this is going to tell me, yeah, there's a lot of really short dated activity going on. All right, so a couple of other screens here. Volume. I'm sure everybody in here knows the difference between volume and open interest. Volume is a continuously running total of all transactions that have occurred at a particular strike and expiration. But what we're doing here is telling you which stocks have all of the options activity coming into them. And what it's going to tell you is that today, STM, and we actually alerted STM earlier. So STM is up 33%. On this volume tab, though, STM is trading 43.8 times its normal 10-day average, right? So look at this. We've got volume of 140, 382 contracts. Of that, calls are 139,422. Puts are 960. Are we a little skewed to the call side there? Let's see, 139,000 versus 960. It's going to give me the average volume. It's going to give me the call open interest. It's going to give me the put open interest. DCOI is the change in open interest from the previous day. So today's call open interest of 70,250 is an increase of 22,408 contracts. Do I have some traders that are getting into STM on the call side? Could you build multi-options orders like condors where there's a set of probability traits similar to Tastyworks? So we've got to make this distinction, right? So Black Box is not a brokerage. So we're not building those orders. We are the encyclopedia that you're looking to build your report that you will then send to something like Tastyworks or your broker and say, okay, execute this. Does that make sense? This is great big data. Great big data, lots of different ways to use it. Okay. So for me, volume, I'm going to be looking at these stocks that have really high options volume. Okay. Um, and then I'm looking at mainly at this ratio number. I'm sorry, 44, nearly 44 times its normal options volume. There's something going on with STM. So I'm going to do a little bit of digging to see what's coming up. Now look, as soon as I click on it, Black Box is going to give me the earnings date. I could have a bunch of activity happening in STM because earnings are going to be coming up in a couple of weeks and people are looking to play that ER ramp. Are there, let's see, other question in the feed. Are there included ones or any that are separate feed? Nope. Everything you see right here is the same. We're all real time. All of the, everything that we have is included in your single subscription price. We're not trying to layer lots of other things on. Okay. All right, another tab I've got here. I've got open interest. Like I said, as you guys know, open interest is calculated once per day after the market closes. This will be a static page. We've got a filter up here that's going to give you the top increases in call open interest, decreases in call open interest, increases in put open interest, and decreases in put open interest. But remember, open interest is showing all contracts that are still open. That includes contracts that have been bought as well as premium that has been sold. So this is going to be useful information, but you want to come and do some digging to see what these trades actually were. But look at this. Snap, the 731, 2450 calls. Today's open interest is 40,529. That is an increase from the previous day of 38,344 contracts. Is that a hint that people are going into these snap calls? Again, if I click on snap. Oh, and that one's interesting. People are going into 731s and it's going to cover ER, but it's got a little bit of time after the ER as well. Just one note on this ER. Up here, just like all the other sources that are out there, until ER is confirmed, this is an estimate. Most companies will confirm their ERs 2 to 3 weeks. Most of the financials, the big banks and stuff like that, have theirs confirmed well in advance. A lot of the other ones, you're going to have to, if you see this number, if you see a date, and in particular, you see one date on Black Box and another date on your broker, go to the investor relations page of the stock itself, and that's going to be the best resource. The other one, I'll use Earnings Whispers just because they give me the little check mark or the dash. So the check mark is going to tell me that that earning has been confirmed, earnings date has been confirmed, and the dash is going to say that it hasn't. This is really only an issue if you're planning to swing something through ER or you've got a longer term swing. We want to know when those dates are because there is nothing worse than holding a position through ER and then having Zuckerberg get up there on the stage and saying, oh, we don't really care about profits anymore. We care about security. Boom, take the stock crashed. It didn't actually crash, but damn, it was ugly. All right, so there's one other thing. If you guys want to come and do some additional research, like I said, this thing grows with you. Yeah, Elon, 420 funding secured. So I'm going to come back to these filters really, really quickly because I've already covered the ask and above ask. There's some additional research that you can do here as well. You can sort everything by the sectors. So if you only want to, oh, thank you, Lorraine. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm a little tiny bit hyper, but I love Black Box. I genuinely do. You can filter by each one of the sectors. A lot of times I will turn these off. I play a lot of high tech because that's the environment that I came from. But I'll also do things when I'm looking at additional research, like turning off stocks and just filter for the ETFs. By filtering for ETFs and looking at where money flow is coming into, I can see some sector rotation, right? Particularly for those ETFs that are not tracking ETFs, that are tracking gold or other commodities, but are basket ETFs. So I can look for sector rotation there. We also have this one alert that I need to make you guys aware of. So, or this one filter. If you click on unusual activity, okay, it's going to override everything else, okay, except for the calls and the puts. It's going to show you all of that. If I set this Let me take out. Do we not have any? Oh, I'm on the historical tab. Helps if I actually get on flow. Filter, unusual, set. Do we really not have any unusual activity today?
That's a little odd considering the volatility we've had.
It is really odd. So, what happens with the unusual activity? That is interesting. What happens with the unusual activity filter? It's going to be a little bit funky because what we're looking for is all of that stuff you don't normally see flow in. You will see flow in Apple, AMD, BAC every single day, right? Those guys are trading what, 25, 30 million shares a day, and there is a direct correlation between the volume in the stock and the volume that we have in options. But this one is going to pick up stuff. We've had everything in here from Skechers to some crazy other little names that you just don't see a lot. And I'm not sure why we don't have any today. It could just be that we've got just hasn't triggered the criteria yet. But what you'll have happen is you might see one alert come through, and then you'll see a bunch hit it all one time because the system is saying, all right, I've got a little bit of unusual activity, and then boom, it's going to have everything else following behind it. So I use that filter throughout the day as well. Let me turn this one off. One of the other things I do for my research is there is an over $500,000 value. So I want to see all of the trades for over $500,000. And I'm going to put in Apple. And I'm going to come over here to this historical tab. Okay, I know I have some $500,000 trades today on Apple. Or I had $500,000 trades yesterday. Okay, Creed. Is this just my? Well, it should be.
Let
Oh,
me double
half a
check
million
mine.
dollars. Oh, stock, stock, stock. I have to filter for the stock. That's what I did. If something happens, check your filters. All right. It's all web-based, so we should have the same information. So didn't know if my system was just running slowly. But so now I just want you guys to notice I've filtered, right? So show me all of the trades that are over $500,000. These are all of the trades for yesterday, because this is 413, that were over $500,000. But let's say I want to do some additional digging. I want to do some trend analysis. I want to see what these guys are doing with Apple on these big trades. And say, I want to look at all $500,000 trades that have occurred since May the 1st. So from May the 1st until now, these are, would you stop? I'm back over here. I don't want to see that one. I'm getting click happy. Sorry, guys. So from May 1st to 7/13, these are all of the $500,000 trades. So let's see. Now I want to look at this. I want to download it. We now have this little download button. If you click on that, boom, you now get a little spreadsheet that has all of that information. So you can now dig into this, separate some of it out, look to see when these trades are coming through. And in fact, every single tab here, you can download the information. So you can download all of the alerts. You can download all the flow. You can download anything that you want to. But when you're looking at flow, just be aware that right now on our download button, it's got a limitation of 300 rows. That will be fixed. But if you exceed that limit, just come back to your filters. Come back to flow, filters, and turn things off, like take out the whites, take out the calls or the puts, whatever you're wanting to look for. Okay, so I think, oh, one other quick thing down here. So if I go back to the stock side, in this lower left-hand corner, remember I've got top gainers and top decliners. On the option side, it's slightly different. So instead of top gainers and top decliners, I'm going to have most active calls and puts. So remember I said calls and puts can be both bullish or bearish. So for me, while it's interesting that Tesla had 70 yellow and purple trades totaling 61.27 million in calls, it's not giving me a differentiation. It's not telling me which of those calls are bullish or bearish. What's really interesting to me is bullish flow and bearish flow. Okay, so if I click on bullish flow, and then I click on Apple, and then I click on alerts, I can see that I did have 2 alerts on Apple today. Did I have any on XOM? Had 1 on XOM, none on Uber. And I'm showing you this because we can have all of these alerts. The alerts are saying, hey, there is unusual activity here. But by clicking on this bullish and bearish flow, you're going to catch some of those smaller moves, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that there's a trade there, but Uber today has 65 bullish flow trades, only 2.13 million. But if it's on this list, it's interesting to me. I'm going to do a little digging, see if there is a trade there. Okay. All right. I think that covers my spiel for Black Box. You guys want to throw some questions at me?
Awesome. I've seen a couple questions coming through here and I've logged them in my head. So, Teresa, first question to come on to this. From when you first started trading back, you were just getting ready to go into it, and now what you've had and built a process with Black Box, has it simplified and has it assisted you in becoming a more organized and better trader? Or do you feel that it added a little bit of hassle, but it also added more value? What is your opinion as a newer trader going into that to where you
Um,
are now?
oh my gosh. From when I first started trading to now and watching Black Box, it is light and day difference. This is That's what I'm saying. The power of this thing to be able to click on any ticker and be able to instantly see all of that information, this wide variety of data, everything from the news to what we're tracking on the stock side. With Black Box, it does not matter whether you're trading stocks or options. All of the data is here for you. So if you're trading options, you're able to instantly see lots of activity on the underlying asset as well as the option itself. On the stock side, I did not cover this, but you guys probably saw that. On these alerts, what we have coming through is you'll get these yellow crosshairs that are amazing, right? You can say, okay, this is where the alert came through. Even if I missed when this initial alert came through, we all know stocks don't go straight up. They go up and have a pullback, up and have a pullback. Look back at this alert. I might have missed this entry, but it came back, fell below, and then boom, took off after it crossed this area again. So it gives me really quick tools for being able to see support and resistance. I can see what smart money is doing. I want to be able to float. I want to follow what the big boys are doing. You guys, if you're in the room, you've heard my analogy. I have this visual that the market is this great big mean female dragon. And all husbands know why I chose for her to be a female. And
Ah,
my job is to sneak in, steal a little bit of that treasure that the dragon is guarding, and then run my butt back to safety without it getting zapped or burnt. Okay. So Black Box gives me those tools to do that.
awesome. Awesome. Okay. Now, a secondary question. Now, there are a lot of other things out there in the trading sphere. And like I said before, me personally, peeps, I really love Black Box. This is one of the tools that I keep in my gambit all the time. This is something that I pay for out of my own pocket every single month. I absolutely love it. But there are somewhat kind of in the same idea of big data. What makes Black Box better than Cheddar Flow, Benzinga, Stock Twits, all that, just as information wise? What
Oh,
really sets it apart?
I'm not even gonna count stock twits, right? The stock twits is just noise. Come on, let's be. So there are some competing products that are out there, and the biggest thing that I'm gonna say is if you are using one of those competitors, I want you to take a look at what flow they're presenting. And then look at the flow we're presenting. I think that's one of the huge advantages we have. Everything is real time. We are presenting everything to you, including if you go over here, and let me see if I can find one. Hopefully we'll have one today. Look at this. I've got competitors out there saying, oh, this dark pool trade came through. They don't bother to tell you when it got canceled.
That is very
So
true.
we're presenting everything. We're also presenting everything at a much better price. I'm just going to tell you now, Black Box is a freaking steal. It just is. Real time data, the amount of information that we have, and the amount of information that you can glean from the system, it's just phenomenal. So
Absolutely. I
I
love it.
think I'm a little biased. What is the delay? There is no delay. You paid for your yearly? Hey, USMC, I know you, darling. Yes. So, I, to me, the system is just phenomenal. And as we add the new dark pool data, I am so freaking excited about this. You're going to be able to click on studies right here. And guys, I get a lot of people. I leave this as a line chart when I think that this line chart is super, super cool, but I'm looking for those quick visuals. That's what this data is. I'm looking for those quick hits that I can then go back and very quickly process a trade on them. And so with the dark pool data, it's going to be the first study that comes up here. And we'll just add that profile. And then the new integration with TradeStation, you'll be able to pull this up, instantly look at the flow, do a right click, and place a trade. It's going to be insane.
Absolutely. And the fact that BB is also working with TradeStation as well in the aspect of you're going to get, your commissions and stuff back on that. So your one-click trade through Blackbox routed through your TradeStation account, guys, it's and gals, it's basically paying for itself throughout. I mean, it's something that's awesome. Something to keep in mind is they do have a very strong educational sphere, not just from us as well, but also their videos on YouTube, and they have a nice chat feature inside of the platform there as well. It's not as active as typical, but everything goes kind of stale during lunch. I mean, let's all be honest, we got to go eat, we're not computers, so that happens. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes we eat at the desk. Sometimes we eat at the desk, but still, I really like the platform. But Peeps, what are some other questions that you have? We have her here. She's a very busy woman, so if you have questions, make sure you ask them now.
I do want to just touch on that education piece. So, I am a teacher at Blackbox. I teach Monday nights. I've got an orientation class tonight. Every Tuesday, I teach you stock and options basics. So, if you guys need those fundamentals, come join me and hang out with me. It is an intensive class, about 3 to 3.5 hours. You get to listen to me and my hyper voice talking, but it is the class that I wanted when I became a new trader. I designed the curriculum based on my experience as a new trader. And then if you guys want a more in-depth run through of the system and how to use it, then I teach the full black box trading system class every Wednesday. We also have Thursday night, we have an understanding options flow class. It's really going to dig into this options flow, what we're looking for, what we consider to be good flow. I have a question that might require some instruction. How can we see what it looks like on mobile? Very cool. Excellent question. I should have covered this one. So for Black Box, our website is mobile friendly, but we've been adding so much options data, it has not been fully ported over as yet. So if you are on an iPhone, you're going to download desktop browser. It's just going to present you the desktop site on your phone, so everything looks beautiful. On Android, you're going to have to kind of play with it because we've got so many different configurations on these Android phones. Either use the Dolphin browser or the Firefox browser and enable desktop site. And what that's again going to do is just present the desktop site to you on your phone. If you're looking at stocks, it's totally fine. And we are in the process of porting over all of the options data now. But for the time being, you're going to have to use one of these browsers on your phone. And
Good
I have
stuff.
to applaud folks that can do all this stuff on your phone. If I didn't have my computer and my 3 monitors, I'm just lost. Like, I can't do it.
So another question on that: the free trial, is it limited, or do you get access to everything? That's something you always question about free trials.
You get access to everything. And if you guys are interested, you're going to contact Creed or someone here in your trial. The only thing that you do not get is we have all of our trials use the same login. So when you go to the stock side, if you're on a trial, you will not be able to see these rapid decline alerts. We just, because of the risk associated with shorting a stock, um, that's why we make that feature proactive. And when we've got trials coming in, we don't know what sort of experience that they're coming in with. So we just want to limit that.
Awesome.
But
Awesome.
yeah, you get access to absolutely everything.
All righty. I don't see any other major questions coming through, so we'll give them a second here just to see. Peeps going once, going twice, going thrice. All righty. Well, Teresa, this is the final question on this. What is a good piece? You always hear the term dad advice. Well, being that you're female, what's a good piece of mom advice for a new trader just coming into the trading atmosphere?
So the big thing that I tell new traders that I want you guys focusing on is process versus profits. I have a lot of new traders coming in and they will have 50 positions open. And I'm like, I don't know how you do it. I just don't. So when I talk about process versus profits, the piece of this is understanding process is all about your trading plan. It's about the strategies that you're using. It's about the chart setups that make sense to you. Um, get that process together. I want you trading. I'm an options trader. I very rarely ever trade stocks. I love everything about options. Yes, there's some additional nuances to learn, but damn, you can't beat the leverage. And so process means trading one contract, one position. I want people picking 3 to 5 stocks and learning those stocks as well as they know their significant other. What ETFs are they in? How do they trade in the morning? How do they trade in the afternoon? I'm really being able to zone in on what does this price action look like? And then I'll get, well, Teresa, I can only make $10 if I trade one contract. It's not about the profits, darling. If you get your process down, I promise the profits will come. The second piece of that is I really believe that trading comes down to about 40% process. The other 60% is harnessing those emotions. Now I see people out there saying, oh, trade like a machine. BS. I'm sorry. I do not agree with that because the truth is we are emotional beings, right? What you need to do though is harness those emotions and recognize that if you struggle with things outside, so things like impulse control or revenge trading, right? If you get angry quickly, man, I can revenge trade like nobody's business. All right. I'm going to tell you right now. The other thing I struggle with is that I have a very rational, logical thought process. Anybody here think that the market is even remotely logical or rational? So it's that not only focusing on your process, but I'll tell you I've learned more about myself in trading than I have at any other point in my career. And it's made a huge difference in all areas of my life, really being able to recognize what emotions are driving what I'm doing at the time.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, everyone, I hope you take that to heart, take that with what it is and understand that this does take time to build a process and understand the process and never be afraid to ask for help, but also be willing to accept the advice that is given to you and presented to you once you ask for that assistance. Well, with that being said, Teresa, I believe that's everything. I want to thank you very much for coming and presenting everything here on Black Box. I look forward to seeing everyone as well in the community over there. The discount code and everything will be placed in the chat right in here for when this goes on to YouTube later on. I'm sure to be down in the description below. Teresa, do you have any final words before we end things? Oh, I guess not. All
Oh,
righty.
no,
Oh,
I'm still here. I'm talking. Did you hear me?
nope, we did not hear you. I think your mic was off.
I got so excited I overrode the microphone. I was just gonna say I wanted to tell you guys thank you very much for having me. You know where to reach me, Creed, if you have any other questions. And you guys have a spectacular day and stay green. Bye.
Awesome. Bye, everyone. As always, remember your trades are in the history, and we'll see you around. Stay green.
Bye.